Okay, 101, week 8, part 6. So the technical information. Now, the problem with technical information is I can spend the rest of my life teaching you all the different ways to do it. So let me just go over what you're probably going to need. Now, the problem is that as you go through your academic career, different things will require different technical information. It's real annoying. All you can do is buy a book and look up in the book how to do it. The book is like the MLA citation guide thing. Also, I hate to tell you this, MLA is one way to put the technical information. There are other styles, including Chicago style and Harvard style and APA style, and I don't know what to tell you. Different disciplines, the sciences do things slightly differently than the humanities do. Like your science classes are slightly different than your English professors. So it's just a lot of technical information. But here's the thing. You're basically always going to need to know the name of the author, the name of the book, the name of the thing name of the author, the name of the thing the author wrote. You're almost certainly going to need the publisher, and you're going to need the publication date. A couple of other things that might come up that you're going to need. It's pretty common, for example, to get a thing inside another thing. So, for example, you can read an essay. Say, an essay. You can read an essay. That can be inside a book of essays. So let's say you got a book called The Greatest Essays Ever Written. And in that book is an essay called Self-Reliance by Emerson. So then you're going to need to know the name of the author, Emerson. You're going to need to know the name of the essay, Self-Reliance. But you're also going to need to know the name of the book you got the essay out of, which is The Greatest Essays Ever Made. See, so like there are essays in books, poems. You can get a book of poetry, for example. Then you need to know two titles, because you got to know the name of the poem, and you got to know the name of the book the poem was in. Also, when you have a book like that contains a lot of other things, somebody picked all the things to be in there. Who's that? That's the editor. You're going to need to know the name of the editor. It's aggravating. And if you're taking something in translation, then you're going to need to know the name of the translator. So I know it's aggravating, and it's a lot of stuff. Okay, but those are the things you're most likely to need. Now, if you're getting something out of a book, and the book has a little volume 1, volume 2, so then you're going to need that too. So it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of. But basically, the key thing to know is you're going to need to know the name of the author, the name of the thing the author wrote, the publisher, and the date. You might also need translators, editors, and if the thing you're quoting is inside something else, like a poem in a book of poems, or an essay in a book of essays, then you're getting two titles. The name of the thing you're quoting, and also the name of the book you got it out of. And that book probably has an editor who picked all that stuff to go in there. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of. And it could be more than that. It's really aggravating. But that's basically the idea. Let's take a look at some examples, because I think this is going to make it... Oh, I should say something else. There are websites you can go to that will do this for you. They're okay. I know it's not cheating to use them, by the way. They're called citation generators. I don't remember off the top of my head the names of them. One of them is called like nightsite.com, I think. There's Owl something. If you look up MLA citation generator, you'll find it. It's not cheating. Some students tell me about it, like, oh, professor, I know this secret website. That it's not secret, and it's not cheating, because it's not someone else's words or ideas. It's just a machine that helps you do this, make these kinds of, basically asks you questions, like fill in the blank questions. What's the name of the author? What's the name of the title? What's the publication date? Or sometimes they'll find the book for you, and then fill in all that information automatically. It's not cheating. It's totally okay. The problem with those websites, though, is they do two things. They either find the book for you, and then automatically fill in all that technical information. Or they ask you a bunch of questions and you got to do fill in the blanks. Two things go wrong when students do this. Number one, students pick the wrong book. So, for example, Shakespeare wrote a play called Macbeth. So students will want the technical information for the book Macbeth to put at the bottom of their paper about Shakespeare's Macbeth. They go on the citation generator, they put the word Macbeth in, and they find something called Macbeth, but it's actually like a history book about the real life Macbeth and not Shakespeare's play. But they can't tell the difference. They're not looking at it closely enough. They're in a hurry and they just click it and they add it to the bottom of the paper and it's wrong. Happens all the time. Or in this class, for example, they'll put Plato's Phaedrus into the citation generator and it'll find it, but the different translation. It's not the one we're using in class. So they end up putting the wrong one down at the bottom. The problem with the fill in the blanks is that some of those blanks you're supposed to leave blank because maybe, for example, Some things in English, it doesn't have a translator. But some of the things you got to fill in, like the name of the author and the name of the publisher. But students don't know which ones to leave blank and which ones to fill in, and so they leave the wrong ones blank, or they fill in the wrong ones, and then they hit generate, and it generates something wrong. So for example, they'll put Plato as the name of the author, and then they'll put Phaedrus as the name of the book, but then they don't know the publishers. They just leave that blank. And then they hit go, and the thing says Plato's Phaedrus, and that's wrong. So the citation generators can be really helpful, and you don't have to stay away from them. But if you understand what your teachers are looking for, it's going to make it easier to generate what they want. So let's take a quick look at this. At the bottom of page 7 of the citation handout, this is what your works cited should look like. At the bottom of your paper, and it could be on the last page or you could do it on one more page, but you write works cited, and then you list off all the things that you quoted. So let's look at the first one. It's real easy. Mamet, comma, David, period. Speed the plow, period. It's in italics. Grove, comma, 1988, period. But that's an easy one. See, it's really simple. You can handle that. Why? There's the name of the author, the name of the book, the publisher, and the date. Now, the annoying thing is you got to remember where all the punctuation goes and the order. So you do the name of the author, the name of the book, the name of the publisher, the year. The author goes last name, first name, and you put a comma in between. You got to have a period, Speed the Plow, period, Grove, comma, 1988, period. So the annoying thing is and no one memorizes that. I can't memorize that. It's just ridiculous. It's so fucking boring. So you have to pull out this handout and look and say, okay, so I need the last name, and then a comma, and then the first name, and a period, and then I need the italics. The title goes in italics, and there's a period. You got to look it up every time. There's no way to remember how all the little stupid punctuation marks go, so you got to look it up every time. Let's try another one. James Merrill, last name, comma, first name. Okay, Oranges, that's the name of a poem. See how he's got it in quotation marks? Because see, poems are short. Collected Poems, see, that's the name of the poem. That's the name of the book. And then here is the publisher, and here is the date. And see, this one has a page number because Oranges is a poem on page 332 of this book. So again, a little more technical information in that one. That's a little trickier because you've got a thing, Oranges, in another thing, a book of collected poems. So it's tricky, right? So you got, and again, one of your titles is short, so it goes in quotation marks, and one of your titles is long, so it goes in italics. Let's try another one. Let's say you read an interview with a musician, and you want to quote something they said in the interview. Well, you're going to need the name of the interviewer, you're going to need the title of the piece, and you're going to need the, actually, take a look at this, and actually this is an interesting one. This is one that comes up a lot with my students. See, what my students do is they read an interview with a musician, and then they just want to put this, www.filmmusicmagazine.com, right? And then you could put more there, so you have this way, that way I could type this into my internet browser and get to the exact same interview. Oftentimes my students go, oh, I found it here, and they just put this. But what do you need? The name of the author. In this case, that's the name of the interviewer. What's the title of the interview? It's called Interview with Brian Retzel. Well, you got to have that. And it's just an interview, so it's short, so it goes in quotation marks. What's the name of the publication? Film Music Magazine. And then you got to have the date it was published and then the www. So, see, a lot of my students are just like, well, whatever, I got it off this website. No. I need the name of the author. I need the title of the website page. I mean, the individual page you're looking at. I need the title of the whole web page, where this is only a small part of it, and I need the date that this thing was published, and then the technical information. So you see how fucking annoying this is. I mean, this is ridiculous. And it gets worse. Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, right? So you got last name, comma, first name, period. Then you got the title of the book, Macbeth. But that book is located in a giant book called the Riverside Shakespeare. So that also, these are both in italics because this is a book and this is an even bigger book it's inside of. This book's like 3,000 pages. Edited, you gotta have the editor, edited by G. Blakemore Evans. Not every book has an editor, but this one does. Publisher, the date, and the page range, right? For movies, this gets even more annoying because movies don't have it's not one author, it's 4. Plus there's a director, and there's all these actors. So who do you put first? Well, in the case of movies, just to make things extra fucking confusing, you put the name of the movie first. So see this, you go, Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Then you need the director, mention maybe 2 actors. Publisher, who's the publisher of Star Wars? Disney, right? Fox, Marvel is the publisher of the Marvel movies, right? So you have the publisher, you gotta have the year, and then you have to have what you watched it on. Did you watch it on Blu-ray? Did you watch it on DVD? You watch it on Amazon Prime? You watch it on Netflix? You gotta put that here. So you can see, like, that's the technical information. It is incredibly boring. Because most people see a movie and they're like, movie doesn't have a publisher. Yeah, it does. Disney's the publisher of a lot of these things. Or Fox. Well, Disney owns Fox now. But the point, Universal or Paramount or whatever the company that puts it out, you got to have that information. So you're going to need all that information. And it is incredibly, massively annoying. But that is MLA citation. I wish I could tell you this. I know this video is going on a little bit long. All right, I'm going to end it. But the point is, you got to go do it. And that's, you got to look it up on the sheet and you got to make it work. Okay, I'm done with this. Just, you don't have to memorize it. Just have the sheet out. Do your best to match it. Feel free to ask me questions. We'll figure it out.